Hello, CoAmp. With me today is none other than Elliott Eisenberg, the BowTie economist. We just wanted to give you a little sample of what's to come. He's going to be joining us for an economic update here in a couple of months. So we wanted to take just a few minutes, kind of answer some preliminary questions that you guys might have, see if we can maybe whet your appetite a little bit for what we have to come. So hello, Elliott. Welcome.
Thank you, Benjamin. It's a pleasure to be here. My gosh, I look forward to being in Colorado and chatting with you all in person. Wow, what a concept. In a little less than 2 months.
It should be absolutely fantastic. And hopefully, with a little luck, the weather will hold out. It is June in Colorado, so who knows? It might snow
It
in still.
should be pretty good. Snow season should be over by then.
Absolutely. All right. So, just a couple of just easy little questions for you, Elliott. What impact is all of this stimulus money, this giveaway, going to have on the economy?
Look, in the short run, it's great. I mean, it's helped us, tide us through. We had 2.2 trillion that President Trump gave us a little more than a year ago, and then $900 billion in December again from President Trump. And then President Biden's now given us 2.2 trillion. That's $5 trillion. I mean, that's a boatload of money. I mean, that's bigger than the economy of Japan, you know? I mean, we're talking some serious dough here, roughly the size of Japan. This is a huge amount of money. It's kept our economy going, and it's allowed us to now really begin to take off. People have money. People didn't lose their homes and apartments and cars and bankruptcy on their student loan. I mean, everything didn't fall apart. We kind of sort of froze time, if you will, financial time for about a year. We also froze the clock, the calendar. It was Blur's Day every day, but that's something else. So that's led us to a point now where suddenly employment can take off, spending can increase. We're not all just so far behind financially that it's a disaster. Some of us have suffered a lot, but by and large, it's done its job.
So basically, what you're saying is the economy is like Zoom when you have a rough internet and all of a sudden it's like freezing and the person kind of catches up. That's kind of what the economy is doing.
Sort of right. We had that bit of a Zoom problem, if you will, for a while, and a herky-jerky. And we got that stimulus money came back last year in March, end of March, whenever it came. It helped in April, May, June, July, and then August, September, and by November, December, we were really out of gas. Our economy was shrinking, COVID numbers were worse, and then more stimulus comes, the weather gets better, vaccination rates start to rise, injection rates are improving. I mean, wow, we're really poised now for some good stuff.
So I know the question that's on every loan officer's mind is, what do you think rates are going to do?
Wow, if I knew that, I wouldn't have to work for a living. I suspect if we're lucky, rates decline near end of year. The fear that's going on right now is we're going to have inflation. And the question is, how bad will that inflation be? And more, and importantly, why will it show up? If it shows up merely because prices a year ago were really low, we were in lockdown last March, April, May, well, who cares what prices were then? I mean, that's inflation year over year. It's true, but it's not indicative of anything. Comparing something to a lockdown price doesn't give you information about what's going on now. If, however, the inflation takes off in part because of prices going up from here, because of supply chain problems, think bad weather in Texas in February blowing out all our oil refineries and plastic making facilities and so on. Think of the Suez Canal problem. Think of inventories being short. Think of there not being enough trucks to transport the stuff that we need. Think of the shortage of the semiconductors for automobiles, if not for other purposes. These supply chain problems, lumber prices being really high, causing new home prices to jump, which is causing existing prices to jump. Those are going to cause inflation from here up, not the base effects are going to cause inflation from here looking backwards a year. So if it's mostly the base effects, yeah, so what? The Fed doesn't care. If it's more this, that could be a concern, but it might well not be, because bottlenecks don't last forever. I mean, I hate to say this, but literally 39 and a half years ago, it's a long time, interest rates on a single family detached house or mortgage, 30-year mortgage, was like 19%. Now they're 3%. At the time, I don't know, you weren't even born, but people couldn't imagine there'd be a time when inflation, that there'd be no concern about inflation. So, we have mortgages prices, lumber prices are skyrocketing. They're going to come down. This isn't going to last forever. So this inflation, this bottom part of inflation will go away come June or July. The question is that bottleneck inflation. How fast is it going? And I suspect that by the end of the year, it's beginning to go away. And investors become less concerned about it. And the 10-year treasury begins to come down. And with it, the 30-year mortgage. That's my optimistic scenario. Now, the pessimistic scenario is this problem gets embedded, the inflation stays, never goes away, and gets worse. Very unlikely, but possible. And think back to your own life. How many times have you seen a price increase, a spike in something, and then the spike goes away? So we'll see where it goes. We'll know more in June, but at this point, I'm optimistic, and I think rates don't get a lot higher maybe than they are now. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
They could go up a bit and then come down as well. That would not surprise me if we get in the hot and heavy of this inflation, people get nervous.
I like it. So one of the buzzwords that you use and we all use as loan officers is inflation. And I had a meeting the other day, and the person was like, so what is inflation? Can you explain in just layman's terms? Like if I was talking to my 7-year-old son, what is inflation?
7-year-old son, what's your son's favorite thing to buy or eat or something?
Legos.
Legos, great. So and he knows you go to a store, you buy Legos, you buy them online or whatever it is. And he knows a box of Legos with 100 pieces or whatever it is costs, I don't know, $20 or $10 or something, right? So you tell him that inflation is as following. Hey, Junior, when you go to the store and buy your Legos, it used to cost $10. Remember last year, $10? This year it costs $12. That's 20% inflation. He may not get the 20%, but he gets that it's $2 more expensive. Now, people conflate or confuse price levels with price increases. If next year Legos go from 12 to 14, that's a similar price increase, $2. It's a smaller percentage increase because the base is larger, right? But it's roughly similar. But if the Lego goes from 10 to 12 and next year stays at 12 to the following year at 12, so it goes 10 to 12 to 12, there's no inflation from the second to the third year. The price is high. You're bitching that it's $12 and it used to be just a year ago or 2 years ago, 10. That's the price level. All that inflation cares about is the price change. So if milk goes from $3 a gallon to $4 a gallon in a year, that's year over year, big inflation, 33%, 3 to 4, right? Dollar on a base of 3. But if it then goes from $4 to $4.04, that's 1%. You say, whoa, milk's so expensive. Used to be $3. That's ancient history. No one really cares. It's the change in prices we care about, not the price itself.
So how is inflation different than the cost of living? Or like, if we have to buy a burger for $1 and then we have to pay the employees more because minimum wage goes up and that burger is now $1.05. How is that related to inflation?
They're very similar. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is designed to capture the inflation that you see in your daily life. So you say, well, if you're an employee and you say, hey boss, I'm a better employee this year than I was last year. I'm more skilled at my job. I need like a 3% pay raise just because my output's better. I'm making now more carpets per day, or I'm selling more beers per hour, or whatever it is. But then you say, look, 3% is great, but I also need a 2% inflation adjuster because inflation just ate away 2% of my money. How do you know that 2%? That's from the CPI. And they have different CPIs, national CPI, for metropolitan city workers, for contracts. They have a whole bunch of different measures, but there are lots of measures, but that's one of them that tries to get at what your cost of the basket of goods that you're buying cost. Some housing, some health insurance, transportation, clothing, and so on, with weights appropriate to the average person. Now, if you're 75 years old, your transportation costs to work are zero, and your healthcare costs are sky high. So the basket really varies over time and by person. So there's no perfect measure, but that's what the CPI tries to do, is answer exactly that question.
Fantastic. Well, the last question that we have for you is when the foreclosures and the eviction moratoriums are lifted, what do you think the impact on the housing market will be?
Okay, so I think Biden's already delayed the foreclosure and eviction moratorium, and President Trump did too. So the pressure on the politicians not to let this become a terribly big problem is powerful, and that's why they've been systematically delaying it. So my suspicion is, if it becomes a problem in June when the latest moratorium eviction notices are supposed to end, they'll just put it on for 3 more months. I mean, think about it. These politicians have spent $5 trillion helping our economy. The last thing they want to do is see millions of households be kicked out or lose their home or kicked out of their apartment. I mean, that defeats all the purpose of everything that they've done. So I can't believe that when it ends, it's going to matter to us, because they'll postpone it until it doesn't matter. Now, conceivably, they get the timing wrong. If they get the timing wrong, okay, it could happen. Maybe they forget in June to do it. You know, something else is on their mind. There's a war with Iran or North Korea, and we just get confused. It's conceivable, but the number of people in these situations is continuing to decline. You look at the data from NBA and Black Knight that looks at not the rental, but the ownership, the forbearance program. That the number of people in forbearance keeps declining because you're getting jobs. Similarly, on the rental side, as employment continues to improve, people who are behind on their rent, the number should shrink. Landlords should be willing to work with someone who didn't have a job for 4 months, now gets a job and now is paying rent. I mean, they're a good tenant. So, and you can't make up for spilled milk by throwing a good tenant out to get a new tenant. I mean, so I suspect this is not going to be a big problem. I really doubt it.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, folks, the information that Elliott gave today was very specific to right here, right now. I'm sure in June, there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot more information.
Maybe just a little.
Just a smidge, just a couple things might change between now and then. So Elliott, where can folks find you if they're interested in learning more?
Wow, thanks for asking. I have a website. It's called Econ70, ECON, and then the number 7 and the number 0. Just go there. You can sign up. I put out a daily 70-word blog on the economy. No graphs, no ads, no charts, no links, no photos. The easiest way to get it, website certainly works, or you can text the number 2, text the word BowTie, one word, BowTie, one word, no hyphen, just BowTie, to the 5-digit number 22828. Again, 22828. BowTie. You'll be prompted for an email address. You'll hear from me every day. If you don't like it, I guess you can unsubscribe. But who would want?
Who would ever want to unsubscribe from you? That's crazy talk. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Elliott. And I look forward to seeing you in June. I know I'm excited.
Oh, absolutely. Do come out and see me. We'll have a great time. If I'm not mistaken, the event's at the Comedy Club at the DTC. It'll be a lunch event. And we'll hopefully have a nice lively Q&A session afterwards, after my prepared millions of slides that I show you. You'll have a chance to network with your friends and all that kind of good stuff too. So I really, really look forward to seeing you. This will be the 5th or 6th year, COVID accepted, that I've come to CoAmp, and I look forward to it very much.
Thank you.